So there are some questions that have been asked, which I think we've already really answered already. It's this recurring question of what a Sunday law looks like. Someone's asked the question, what does 2014 Sunday law look like? And what does the 2019 Sunday law look like? So the person acknowledges that there are two Sunday laws, 2014, 2019. And they're asking what they look like. So we've already answered that question. Can anybody remember what our answer is? It's an important question, but I think the answer is relatively straightforward. How do we know to answer this question? Sorry? So I think I've erased it on the board. You go to 2014 or 19 and you look at the history. So that's what it looks like. The first thing is, it looks like the history that everybody can see, everybody has access to. So the problem is not the history. But the problem is there's too much history. So there's too much history. So we have to be able to work out which bits of history have their importance. Rule number 1. Every piece of history has its proper bearing upon the subject. So once you work the history out, then all you need to do is what? What do you need to do after that? You need to interpret it. And that's where the skill lies. How to interpret history. And I'm suggesting that that's really the work of the Holy Spirit in combination with a human being. Anyone in the world can work out the history. God can lead Gentiles to interpret history, and He can also lead His people. Now, of course, when He leads Gentiles, they have a very narrow or shallow perspective. They cannot understand the full implications or even of what they understand. So if they say Napoleon or Hitler, they can make that analogy, but they don't understand the full ramifications of that. So I want us all to be really settled on this issue. People are looking for some exciting hidden piece of information.
Có ta cái nhìn ra cô bị tiếng ya có quên băng in đấy, au ye về nhìn đấy nên tiếc cái đấy đấy cái cor cái nước cái.
I think that's what's behind the questions.
Cái này cái ai yuan cái này itu ala ko.
What do we know that you don't know?
Yung nhìn cô ye chắc cái nhìn.
What secrets have we got that we want to share with you?
Ye kuno okay cái chirat qua cái anh kinh cô apa.
And of course, when you think about that approach,
Na chia thế nào mà ya?
that there are some secrets that you don't know about.
Bên nghe jam cái nó có. Đó cái chú cái nhìn.
There's some hidden agenda.
Nãy cái nó cái lối cái tập cái nhiều đó.
It quickly becomes what kind of a theory?
Cái bên cái về chiring ngục.
Conspiracy theories.
Kabo cái về đây duom, ini về đó duom.
So I'm suggesting
Ye na luel.
the reason why we've got so many people asking the same question
Khi uom nang khoi duy ye to atum chol ber ki netich.
is because you, at some level, believe in conspiracies.
Ay nyo na ki yin ine chi agam no wel ka duom.
It's not that you believe that we're cleverer than you.
Ache chan ni gam na ki wo ka ni kang awar ku yin.
I think it's because you believe there's information that you have not seen and that we have access to.
Ay ko nyo na ka nang wel ko chu ke yo ke ni ke ting ke ni ko ni.
So I want us all to be settled that all of these ideas are false.
Ka chan bu gam bu ni ke wel ke dia ai luet.
You check the history.
Ye du ka na ko le ba ko la chare.
Any of us and all of us can do that.
Ale biran wo lo ko kale bu ko lo wo dia ye ne ken.
And in the example that I gave,
Ku ye ke ni ta nyo da.
we need to recognize a principle.
Ako bu lo bu ting tin ye ke re.
Our line,
Ni chekenda it
in fact any line,
au gere chekenda
has multiple layers,
anong biog dui ke
multiple stories all happening at the same time.
anong ako kul dui chiro dia lo ni tato ye ka yokin
In the line of Christ,
mani lo bu chekenda ke so
you have a church being raised up.
ka lo ko tinga nang ako kul chene kanisa da nele chene god dubut
You have a church that's being destroyed.
wano kanisa da ye ni kanisa rio
You have people being called out of a movement,
wano ko cheke chol la kunamit
a church,
ye kanisa
being called into a church.
le ke chol ni kanisa de
You have a story that the Gentiles are being called.
wano ako kul chene jur ko pe chene ke chol
So there are many things that are going on.
anong ka dui lo ro
We addressed that yesterday.
kene chi wa jam tin wara kul
We said
chuk luen
you take your history
lo ma ko kul du
and you put them, I gave 3 boxes.
anh chi sandu ke dia ka cha ka bai wa
What are the 3 boxes we discussed?
ke sandu ke dia ka ngu ka wa chu ke jam
Evangelical Christianity.
anong ko ke protestant ke evangelical
We'll call it apostate Protestantism.
you ke chol protestant ke ga na le chen
Good. Cambridge Analytica
wonong ke chol Cambridge Analytica
and Russia.
ya la Russia
It's not the only ones, but these are key ones.
che ke pai le ke ka che ke dit bo ka kon nyot
And all you need to do is go into the history and put them into their relative boxes.
ke bu ja lo bu ja du na ko le bo ko bu ja ta ne ke sandu ke
So you don't mix and match.
che kur ba ke dia akor ba ke chopai
We can see that.
ko ba tin ne
Once you do that,
na chai ke ne loy
then you try to interpret what all that information means.
kabaja tem bajar ware jengwe le ye kene ben
And hopefully, at the end of all of that, you come up with the right answer.
kaya ngot na chaya kene chay tol kin binang ber piet ba yokin
And we're testifying that we have the right answer.
ko kayu ko gam na no wo ber piet ye yich
So, once you see all of this,
ye na ye kene ye tin
and people start talking about a Sunday law,
gol ko bi ki jam chen lu yo mala
it would be this one that we're really focusing on.
ke tung tuen ene ki jam protestant ti gan ne ale chen gan
Because Sunday law is to do with religion.
nango chen lu yo mala e kre di ne kre gam
And then we try to understand
ko bi ja tem bi de
what all this information is about.
yo ngi ne le ke wel ka ke dia
And then the thing is, In the Bible, it never speaks about a Sunday law, does it?
ku ke to ke yi ke ne Bible ke ken jam chele lung yo malar
It speaks about beasts.
e jam lai
Revelation 14,
nyo tier ku ngwan
13,
tier ku dia
and other chapters
jela chapter ko ke Bible
talk about the image of the beast,
ai jam ne ke tong de lai
the beast itself,
lai ne bob de
its mark, its number, etc.
chinde kun ku chinde ku jela ka ju ke ke lel
So we take those concepts
ke dia ayu ke lum
and try to understand what they mean in this historical setting.
ku tem ku bu de yo ngene lel den ye cho ya ko lei
And you've seen that information laid out, I think, clearly.
ku ye cho ke wul ke dia ta ke tin nyo chen ke nyo de chap
You take the principle
lum ye lum
that you don't isolate 2014.
yin che biana buro ku tier ku ngwana chi tek to banyai
Do we agree with that?
yu ku gam ke na
You can't take 14 as an isolated issue.
biana buro ku tier ku ngwana chi lum ke chiro wen ke to pe
We're not sure?
chu ni de ke na
Let me ask it a different way.
cha ka be tin ni belwa
Studies have been done
piu ja che loi
where we talk about threading a story all the way through a line.
man che wo jam long bina ko kul ben ni ya kwan chu ben ni che ke di ben
Are we familiar with that concept?
yen piu ji ni ku
In fact, I mentioned it already.
yen cha wel won te
I think Elder Tessa's mentioned it too.
ka chi elda tesa chi wel ya de
If you remember,
na bang yen ta
she said, why are we connecting 1989 and 9/11?
wo ti yo ye wo ta de to ki wo yen ma ke biana buro ku to
Well, one's a story about the king of the north. Well, one's a story about the king of the south, and the other one's a story about Islam. They're not connected.
wo jam de yo mu yen akokole jam milen yen milen chui ku jala Islam yo mu yen ke rek
So we see the necessity of creating a story.
wo chi yitiep bi wo ka kul bi wo yen loy a chu ti
This is such an important principle
yen long te ke jare
because Adventism doesn't recognize this.
nango a chi kanisa de 7 days a chi ni de ken
They try to look at the world
ai pin no ma yike ting
and try to understand it
ku tem ke big date
through their wrong concepts of prophecy.
ku tem ke big date bi are de ka ku wi ka ka nyot
And essentially what they do
ku kite ke yen ki loy
is say that sometime in the future, without any warning, a Sunday law will occur.
ai ko le te ko bu ben tu ku wo chen ki wo kon nyen long yo malara u ben
They look at the US government,
ai a ku ma de pa na America yike ting
and for that to happen,
kwa chan be ken ro loy
they say that there will be a sudden executive order
ka yike le ka nang lum tu doi ben ti nong ben ni ben ngor pa da America
that comes out of nowhere, catches everyone by surprise.
lum bran ben yu ke de ga ti ran be kon ni
So, of course, all of that is an erroneous position, a wrong concept.
e ken ben e ki chol piu da duom e piu ra
So, if you want to understand what 14 and 19 look like,
na ko ru ye de bian buro man ri yende
when it comes to this issue,
na ku ye wende
Sunday law,
ye long yo malara
you need to know how you get to those histories, those dates.
ka ko ba ni ye lo de ka ko be ni de ken ni ke de
And just to say it in a very simple fashion,
ku ba le ni le yo le ti ran be de
you see that Christians,
ai tin ke kristiano
what is their agenda?
yo mo ye de de ko ke be loy
Is it a bad agenda
ye krai
or a good agenda?
ai ke pe
It's a good agenda.
e ke pe
They want to make their country nice.
ko di pa de to pe
The problem is,
wa ye ke
their definition of nice is ugly.
ai ti ke ki ke pe be tin ye ni kara
Not only is it ugly, it's not what God wants.
a chi chan le na ba a chi ne ke ko ne le ye de
They have a vision of who and what God is,
a no ni ke ne le tin ki ne le ye no
and they see that America is not sharing that vision.
ni ke tin na ne ye America a chi to be ki ke ne le tin ne le ye
And what's happened is,
khi đó lôi cái
by the time you get to our history,
ta bên bên nào cũng lấy
is that America is steeped in conspiracies.
ấy nuốt pan America để chú nhà lim để biết gì
And the biggest conspiracy is what?
mình đi cái bên đó mà cái một
What's the biggest conspiracy that these people have?
điều mới đi bên đi cho cái quay cái gần
Because of? So the biggest problem that they have,
kia cái đi thì cái ngoan cho cái
the brother just said,
thì quan mà cái bên
is that they think America is owned by God.
ấy cái trang cái chuyện nào được cái pan America cái đơn nhà đấy
That Americans trust in God.
cái quay pan America anh nhà đấy ra
And they're so convinced of that,
cái này chỉ ra mà đấy
that conspiracy,
lên cái này
that they think America is a Christian nation.
cái nào tác nào pan America cái pan cái sao nó
And it never was.
cái ta nào
It was designed to be an atheistic country.
pan America cái việc cái dia pan có chết cả
And they can't believe that
cái gì cả
because it's full of Protestants.
đúng rồi ai biết tiêu có chết này
And it was all framed and constructed by Protestants.
cái gì duy cái gì có là chỉ cho quỳnh chỉ cho có cho Protestant
No one else was allowed to construct that country.
chỉ là anh đấy thì bên quân vì cho cái pan này cho quỳnh
They were excluded.
cái gì cái nhà
They could go back to the story of the release of God's people from the Babylonian captivity.
ai cũng chiến nào cũng có được lần trên là lấy trên quay cái trên cái lâu về để ăn trên cái lan mà chỉ pan bao nhiêu
And when they escaped captivity
là lấy cái giờ mà chỉ
and they rebuilt their land,
nó pan lên đây giúp
what land are they building?
ये पिंजरे đấy cái về là gì cái
An atheistic nation or a religious nation?
pan này cái pan cái gam nhà này ông cái pan chơi gam nhà này
Religious, isn't it?
cái pan nhà này cả
The God's people.
ai có nhà này
So they have all these thoughts and ideas,
anh ông cái phiếu cái của chơi lá cái gì cái ta cái
and when they build this country,
là lấy cái pan này về cho quỳnh
they think they're building it for God,
cái gì cái tam này cái phiếu năng nuôi cái dân nhà này
and they're not.
và chỉ nuôi nhà này
This was meant to be a place of safety and refuge for everybody.
thế thì chỉ bé đi cái bia từ nằm lào một người dùng cái ra này bên
The problem is,
cái chỉ đâu quên cái
if you build according to the Old Testament model,
nào nói em như cái chỗ cái chỉ con nhốt vật lấy tệ đấy
what do you say to all the Samaritans?
ví dụ như là cái quái của người nhốt vào cái tệ Samaritan
What do the Samaritans want to do?
những biết có cái Samaria những biết lối
They want to help construct the nation.
cái Samaria ai chặt cái biểu biết có cái Israel có những biết cái bản đến gì
And the Jews say you're not allowed to.
cái gì có cái Israel là cái với cái phôi bằng bộ phôi
You're our enemy, we don't trust you.
với khói cả trên với chú cái gan
And that's the position that these Protestants have.
với những chỗ mình cái đầu cái khói thì gan thì các cái chuyện cho Protestant
And by the time you get to our history,
nói ta gì là bên nào có lại nó về vị trí
that fable
ye anh có là
has now become fact.
ye ai gì chúng ta đã
It's conspiracy.
ye anh rồi
And so they're going to begin to shape and mold America in their own image.
cả bây giờ là cái bị America bây giờ để cho mình cho cái đến
The problem is,
cái chỗ ngồi cái
that image that they have is an Old Testament perspective.
cái đến cho cái để để
Plus a New Testament one.
bây giờ là biểu để rồi để cho để
When it comes to people who look different to you,
anh bên nó có ngồi cái gì
which model do they like?
ye cho mình đến cái gì là nhà
The old or the new?
ye cái để cái chuyện
The old model.
cái
They don't like someone of a different color.
chỉ có nhà có nó chỉ đến quá để đến với
And they don't like someone who's a different gender.
chỉ có ra cho cái ra để trả cái ra quá cái
But when it comes to their own families,
na bikin bai ke ni
then they like the New Testament model.
ka ba nya ki cho de le jut
Everybody be nice to each other and love your neighbor.
ra ni bene del ya ram ke no me de ku del ra ni je han du ke de nya
And they asked a question that the Jews asked,
de ti to ale ni ti ju dai ti
which was what?
ni ni jam de
Who?
ye na
Who's my neighbor?
ye na ye na ra ti ya ne mai ne jiran ye
And we all know
ba ni ku dia
it's not black people
a che ko cho
or Mexican people.
au ye ko pa de Mexico
They're not the neighbors.
a che ke ye jiran ke
Because that's what the scriptures teach.
mo ye ke ki ye Bible le pyo
So they have a plan to make America nice
ano ma jwer bi ke kwa na America cho pe
again.
bi ke be cho pe pya
And that becomes important.
ku ke ni ti ga re
Because if it's again, it means it's going to be repeating what it was at the beginning.
na le ka be pya ke ke nyu a be ke ti ka lo be pe
And what was it at the beginning?
ku ye ngo wan tre
All those white Americans knew who their neighbors were.
ke ko le pa na America ke ya ni ki yi na ke ko ti ti a ben ke ye re pe
And everything was nice.
ye be ne pe
So they want to repeat that.
ku ke te ro ni ko bi be pe
The problem is,
tra di ke
they've got all these troublemakers who are now powerful.
a to ke ko lo ka ra ke ka na li men ka to ye ke ti
Women
ku dia
and black people
ku la ko cho
and Mexican people.
je la ko pa na Mexico
We'll call them foreigners.
ayu ke cho ju ko
They become powerful.
de ka ye ria
So
ye ke na
these Christians
ke ke sa no ga
have a strategy
na ga jwe
to get someone
di ke ran be
who they can use
na bi lu hoi
to go into an alliance with them,
ma ken ke
make them powerful,
ke cho ri
and they will do
ka bi loi
the will of the Protestants.
ka bi cho ki ni ko ti ka ne ka ti ni ke cho ko ta ta na bi loi
We call that church-state relationship.
ke na yu cho men ka ni sa ka na ku ma
And when you can understand that,
na lo ke de de
then you can go and interpret this history,
ni ya ro ko cho lo ne ko lo wa re
and you can see that's exactly what has occurred.
ni ka ba le ti ni je ke ke ji lo ya ko ne
You might struggle to see why it happened in 14. You might struggle to see why we mark 2014.
ani ba me tem ba la de de yo mi wo ya na bu ro je ko wa ni wo lo ki ka yu de
But just watch Elder Tessa's presentation, and she gives the logic of that year.
ka ka le ki lo wo yu chi le test loi a bi nyu a de de ni ru ne
We'll see the same thing with 2019.
ku ye to me ka yu de ki tim ku ya de ya na bu ro je ko ma
All the evidence is there.
ki ye nyu a men a to te
We just need to interpret it.
de ko ra no mi be ba wa re ya ko ne
But we know all the rules, all the methodology to do that.
ka ni ku wa ni do je la de yu bi wo ye ke di wo loi
I know Elder Tess has mentioned this,
anye wo te ki le test ki le
but I just want to remind us,
ka ba na wo be dang ni
how many lines do we have in our history?
ye chiki ke de to kan wo ma ko la de ne
4.
akan ke wan
If you have 4 lines,
na no chiki ke wan
how many time of the ends do you have?
ye te ke to ke de to kan ni
4.
akan ke wan
4 second advent.
we will bend ro de ke so ba ti nai wan
4 closes of probation.
we ba de kai de pe ba ti nai wan
So that's what you believe.
e ke ni ke ya ke ga
I want to remind you,
ka ba de ke be ro tang ni
the Future for America do not believe that.
na de ke future for America a chi ke ne ki ga
They believe in priests, Levites, Nethinims.
ani ga na de ke no ba ni ka ne ni ko ke ko je la ju ko ko kai ke ko
They believe in the 144,000.
ai ga na da na na ku bo de man ku man
But when it comes to creating lines,
na buku chiki ke ben loi
they part ways from us.
kai ja no
So all those people who follow Future for America,
ke koi ja ko future for America pan jo
they need to be clear on one issue.
ako si na ga de tin pe la chok chok
We teach 4 lines and they teach 3, and there are substantial differences when you do that.
ai chiki ke ja pure white kid cái one I look at pure who can I know anh ngồi đi là chậm
It doesn't take long to realize
chế tao mà đi được coi chẳng là một cái gì
that you cannot actually follow line upon line methodology
nó là được kinh chế là chặt cho cái pure thì giảm chỉ kiến là mà chỉ có quán chứ
if you only have 3 closes of probation.
thì nó nhìn thì vẫn hay là pure này nhé
They end up merging them together.
ai là tụi ba lấy cái này cái mà chỉ tụi được
And which close of probation do they throw out?
thì vẫn cái pure cái nói như cái chuẩn vậy
Who knows?
nhưng mà nó chế
The 144,000, good.
ये देखिए जब बंद कहीं तो नौ ग्यारह फुट बहुत चलना समान
They say there is no 144,000 line.
ये ना के ना चीज़ किंतु पे जब ग्यारह फुट बहुत चलना समान
What's the problem with that?
जो मुझे ना किचरा वो ये करी
Where does Ellen White tell you to end the line?
ये एलन वाइट ने कि बात की पता तो कि नो
According to what we studied yesterday.
जो हमारा को चुकी है
Where do we end the line?
ये तो न्यू वॉक की तो
It's on the board. Someone said close the probation.
ये पर कॉमनर के कि बंद कर दे जो
I don't think we're ending the line there.
चाहे गाना लगे पे ये चिकित हो गए हैं
So, remember,
आपको बगदा
we added that on.
लेकिन किन्हें लेकिन ठीक हुआ
So, in the context of earth,
निबिया के पिता में थे
it's the second advent, isn't it?
बहन लोग के किरस
This is where she ends the line.
लेकिन किन्हें ये एलन वाइट के तो
You could extend it to go include the third advent if you were to want to do that.
आपको बहन दिया के किरस हो बदे कितना दिन तक दे के मारे
Now, these things are simple to see.
एक अगर आपको चीज बके थी
They're simple questions, they demand simple answers.
आए तो को चीज को भी बचे जी है
If you take the line of the priests, Levites and Nephilims,
मालूम चिकन पंडित करने जला कोई के कोई जला के डाले
the question you need to ask yourself
एक को बचे रो
is, what's the sequence of these lines?
ये चल के चीज के ये तो है
This one begins here,
ये इनके जैसी एक वाले चीज को तो भी
the line of the Levites,
वो चिकन के कोई दिन करने वाले
when does that begin?
ये बोलने
And the Nephilims, when does that begin?
जला के जो को ये के दिन बोलने
Now we know the pattern.
वो नहीं जो चलते
We know each of them has 5 way marks.
इनको ना है कि चिकन बन ना न्यू के दिन के
We know when this one starts,
इनको ये के दिन नहीं हुआ
but when does the line of the Levites start?
ये चिकन कोई पंडित काम नहीं को ये बोलने
How would you know where to begin that line?
ये नहीं उधर बेनी ने दिन बोलते
You just say, well, just move it over 1 step.
ये तो मैं ना मिले हम लोग प्रेम मार में दो तो
How would you create that line?
ये नहीं चिकन बंजा लोग उधर
We know it's the same pattern,
इनको आना बच्चे तो
so we'll accept that.
इनको काम करना
How do you know when to start it?
ये जानी दे ता को चलो
This would say,
राम याद भी जान
it would start when?
ये वेल ने
At the second way mark for the priest.
ये वेल कब हुआ ना यूं करो नो चिकन पे बंजी करना
How do you know that?
यार के दिन हुआ है
How do you know it's not one across and the third one?
यार की वाले नाम के ने के दिया था वो मुझे वाला यो बात
89,
कितनी
9/11,
ने जरा पूरा फोटो
2014.
ना पूरा उसे मार
How do we know it's not 2014 for the Levites?
यू को ये उधर ना के ने जरा पूरा उसे मार ना के कोई बंजी करना नहीं तो
How do we know?
यू को ये उधर
Their plural is based upon external events.
फिर डोमिन यू ये जरा लॉजिक चो काय लॉजिक ध्यान दी
There are plenty of external events in 2014. Why can't they begin to be plowed then? Why do we insist on 9/11? Because many of us have taken it for granted. We just say, we just shift over one, because that's how we teach it. But that concept is now being challenged by Future for America. I'll show you why. If there's no line for the 144,000, and you've got COP, and we line them up, and this omega is the second advent. If this is 89, 2001, 14, 19, 21. This is Panium, and this therefore becomes what? So I'll put verse 41, Sunday law, and this one becomes, so I'll put 12:1, close the probation. So this line begins and ends where? The time of the end and ends at the close of probation. So you know this is not a complete line. The line has ended prematurely. Because it's not in agreement with what Spirit of Prophecy teaches. Because she ends her line here. We can prove that easily. So, the Future for America make these subtle changes. It has ramifications. But to know that this is correct, I asked the question again. How do you know this begins at 9/11? We use the model. What model were we using? Agriculture, you said? I'll get this agriculture model and I'll move it over one. So that's 2014. What's wrong with that? Why is that a problem? So, there's various ways to address this question. But I want to address it from the perspective that we picked up yesterday. So what did we say yesterday concerning the accusation that FFA have against us? And that we have against them. What was that issue? What did they say we're doing now? We're denying Ellen White. And we say? Yes. I'm willing to admit that. We ignore Ellen White. We don't follow what she says. They record that, clip it, and see? They say, we have proof. If they want to be childish, they can. But we have evidence. Just go onto their webpage, onto their YouTube channel, and you can find the evidence. That they've taught for many years. What do they do? What do they do? They ignore Ellen White. FFA taught us this. Let's be clear on that issue. Ellen White teaches us what? What's the waymark that concerns us the most? On Sunday. I want to go for closing probation. Everything focuses on that point. The controversy finishes here. Everything is settled. It all bears upon that point. So someone asked the question, see if I can find it. Yes. Whose question this was? Are you here? Because you could have given the answer now. Question 3. What does close the probation and shut door mean? It doesn't matter what they mean. What is the person doing there? The way they frame their question. What did they just say? Close of probation. What am I going to put here? Equals. Shut door. What does close the probation and shut door mean? It doesn't matter what they mean. What I want to see is they are the same thing. We okay with that? Everybody agree? Shut door. And what has Future for America's message been from the very beginning? I'll start the sentence, you finish. It was a certain type of message. Life and death. The answer's in the board. It was a shut door message. Check their public record. That's all they have ever taught. When the door shuts, depending on what side of the door you're on, you have life or death. Do you agree with that? Shut door message, that's all they've ever focused on. And then what they did, then they began to manipulate the spirit of prophecy.
giờ tôi gọi bị trồ ra để Ellen bây giờ là có những cái người để nó chỉ gọi bị trồ bị
Is that right?
cái gì
For sure they did.
cái gì cái này chỉ nói
We'll go
bây giờ đó
to second selected messages,
những cái lò những cái cái quanh người để nó
page 81,
nhớ cái chuyện nó nghe rồi chị Ellen chị đến
2SM 81.
nhớ cái lò ra đây nó apa để tiền bạc của tôi
And why is that significant?
dùng cái này tiền thì cái này
What's that story about?
dùng cái này về nhà của mình
Who knows what the story's about?
nhưng mà những cái này cái jam cái thông này
No, that's what the passage is. What's the story?
Jadi kita itu cara beriklan ini, kita pun jadi kita jadi apa?
There are two people. You said the same thing as my brother. I want to know the story. There are two prophets. This is a story about a true prophet and a false prophet. The true prophet is Ellen White. And the false prophet is Anna Phillips. And this false prophet is getting support from leading brethren. And the backdrop of this false prophecy is about time. And Ellen White says, before we read what she says there's an important principle. What's the jewel? The principle that is the most important thing. Consistency. So when it comes to false and true prophets, and you want to understand who's true and who's false, what's the principle that identifies them? Consistency. True prophet will be consistent, a false prophet will be inconsistent. Are we okay with that? So let's show you how Future for America are inconsistent. We'll read the passage. The Lord has shown me clearly that the image of the beast will be formed before the close of probation. For it is to be the great test by which the people of God will decide their eternal destiny. So, what Future for America do, they take this idea of close of probation. Close of probation is the shut door. Who is Ellen White's target audience? Who's her target audience? No. Mr. Garmire? No, not that way. I'll give you a choice. The church or the world? Who's the target audience? When the Lord showed her clearly what was going to happen. What was going to happen to what people?
Yo muốn nuôi quái chỗ.
The world.
Yo muốn nuôi pin nó.
What God has shown her
Cái chuyện này nhớ thế.
is what's going to happen to the world.
Cái muốn nuôi pin nó.
Are we all okay on that?
Yo cái đấy.
You read the context.
Ý chỗ cái 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 này là quên.
It's clear she's talking about the world.
Cái là chả chả mà pin.
So, Future for America come, and the first thing they do is manipulate that passage. What's the first manipulation that they do? The foundational one. What did they do? Manipulate means they change. They change the target audience. They change it from the world to the church. And once they do that, that's where all the problems arise. Or that's where we see all the glory, depending on one's perspective. Now once you start manipulating inspiration, you better be prepared for the consequences. Here, 1798 is this. 1798. What did the Millerites do here? They manipulate God's word, don't they? What did God's word say? In 46 years, what happened? Brothers? You said? Right? Sorry?
No one knows the day.
No, they don't say that. In 46 years, what will happen? What do the scriptures say? In 46 years, the investigative judgment will begin. And they don't want to give that message. Who's the target audience? The world. Says in the verse it's the world. And the Millerites say, that's not our target audience. Who's our target audience? Church. They're going to change it to make it the church. And then they're forced to make this second advent from what it was originally. When they change the data, they cannot handle the consequences. And that's what Future for America did. They went from the world to the church. Totally manipulate what Ellen White is doing. So the first question I have, did they do good or bad in twisting God's word? Did they do good or bad? Why don't we know who are Future for America? First angel's message. First angel's message is good or bad? Good. Who's the greatest prophet? Who's the greatest prophet? John the Baptist. First angel's messenger. First angel. So they were right. They were doing a good job to manipulate this. We shouldn't be afraid to admit that. But the problem is they couldn't handle the consequences.
cái bây giờ bên cái 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 lối à cái lối bè lối này coi
So they changed the data.
à cái chỗ cái chỗ có là chữ quên
We'll draw it here.
buôn buôn nữa
The great test,
à vậy nên tâm đi tụi bay cái này cái
the close of probation.
cái lá tiền của bóng cái 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 chỗ
God has shown me
chính là nhớ thế
that the image of the beast
nắm cái chữ tóm này lên
will be before
bữa lối ăn muối
the close of probation,
ăn muối xin cái bóng cái cái chỗ in đây
because it's the great test
cái bên á tâm đi cái
by which your eternal destiny will be decided.
man bên nó không được đi được coi cái này bên yên tên
This is the life and death test.
cái này cái tên vậy nó tổ của bà pì
Do you agree with that?
nó đám cái này
That's what Ellen White says.
cái bên ấy là vậy
What is this way, Mark?
ye nó như thế là yên
According to Ellen White.
cái chỗ cái ấy là vậy
This is Daniel 12:1.
với cái này em cũng đã nhận chấp là tiếng của chúng tôi
Let's not pretend it's something else.
à đúng rồi dùng với cái này thì
Let's not lie.
đúng được đấy
Let's be honest.
còn mua đã có cái gì giá cả
We can prove,
cái nào là vui nhọt
according to Ellen White's own internal witness,
cái chỗ nếu cái ấy là vậy nếu là vấn đề
what rule is that?
cái này trò chứ luôn như mình đấy
When I say, according to Ellen White's own internal witness, what rule number is that?
thì lúc là nên là cũng về cái chỗ thì có ấy là vậy bên này nên về thì khi lúc đến cái gì nguyên nhọt lúc đấy
Rule number 5.
thế nên lúc gì
I said,
cho nên
her own internal witness.
là nếu cái chỗ cái liên đề thì đó là những ấy là
What does the rule say?
dùng gì lúc lên
It doesn't say own internal witness. What does it say?
chỉ lên cái chỗ liên đề cái rằng những cái nên về những cái gì
It says,
ấy lên
it's its own expositor,
cho cô ấy đến lấy chữ gọi cái gì hòa đấy thôi
and it's a rule unto itself.
cái này ấy lung đó đấy thôi
It's its own rule.
ấy lung đó đấy
And the white is her own rule.
ấy là ngoài được gốc đấy ấy lung đó đấy
If you don't believe that, you cannot prove text.
là chia cái cảm đang về nhìn cái thằng đó là mua cái chỗ cái này coi
This is the Sunday law.
cái này cái chia lung như mà là
Are we okay with that?
chỉ là đấy cái nó mua
So the Sunday law is the great test.
chia đấy lung như mà là cái gì cũng quay cái này thế
This will decide whether you live or die,
những cái bia chân nhọt có phi yếu quá tổ
and it will come before the close of probation,
cũng cái nào bữa lôi anh mua bóng cái để cho cái kiến
which is,
vậy đi ấy
what else is that? The shut door.
cái này yêu lên cái gì để bà
Here's the shut door.
cái này yêu lên cái gì để bà
We agree with that?
những cái lắm cái này
So, what Future for America do is what?
cái future for America lôi cái gì mà
Ellen White's target audience is the world,
có gì mà Ellen White cái ai bình nó
and ours is the church.
nó có cái kanisa
And then they say this:
cái này cái gian luyện
first the church,
những cái luyện kia cứ là một con đôi thì nó kanisa
then the world.
thì là bình nó
If I say first the church, then the world,
chẳng bao giờ cái một con đôi thì kanisa thì chân về đôi thì bình nó
how many doors do you have?
cái lùa này đây thì
2 doors.
cái lùa này rồi
What door was this one?
về bấm cái hai cái lùi như thế này
This was the door of the world.
cái này thì cái bấm cái hai cái lùi thì nóng bình nó
First the church.
và bữa đó lôi thì nó kanisa
You just find out where that door is.
thì giờ có nó giá nhiều thì cái báo cho thì nó
And what did they say that door is?
dùng những cái luyện này như bấm
For the church.
nó kanisa
So they did this.
chỉ là cái lối
The door for the church is here,
những cái luyện thì cái bấm cái hai cái nó kanisa ấy kia lối như là
which makes this way mark what?
mà Mani ye anyu de chema.
Makes it? Close of probation.
Mani ye anyu de chema ti de bam da kai de yo.
So they get all of this
Kini ye ki roi ba.
and they move it back.
Ko lu ki ka ki ne yo ki chen.
Are you okay with that?
Kini chira de no wo.
So this is the image of the beast.
Kini kina dia anyu de ben de ki tong de le ni ye loi.
And this is
Ko kini ye go.
the close of probation.
Na biya na ti de bam da kai de yo.
Can we see that?
Ni lu ku tin.
Close of probation for the church.
Ti bam da kai de yo ti no kanisa.
Everyone okay with that?
Chira de kini no ran kan.
Close of probation for the church is at Daniel 11 verse 41.
Ti bam da kai de yo ti no kanisa. E bu de ne ti ku chok ta man ko.
Did they ever tell you what that waymark was?
Chỉ leo về kia anh nhớ được để nhiều không?
Midnight cry?
Nhớ về cái chỗ đó về cho đi.
The midnight cry is a great test.
Nhớ về là cái chỗ đó về cho đi. Ye cái gì cái gì bạn thêm?
I'm not asking what you think, I'm asking what do they think.
Với chắc cái gì dùng cái trạng với cái gì dùng mua cái gì cái luyện.
Here, according to the COP, the lead is that one is standard law. Every chapter is standard law. The standard law has to be imposed before COP, and that enforcement of standard law is that every chapter is according to the title here. That standard law enforcement precedes the process of probation. Meaning when standard law is imposed there at COP, at every chapter is standard law, then probation will come.
We've identified that. I'm not asking your opinions, I'm asking what did FFA teach that this waymark was?
Với chắc cái gì dùng cái trạng ông cái tiếng ngoài đấy. Với cái gì dùng nhiều có cái future for America những cái điều gì đấy nhiều cái
When they were teaching them, they were saying church and state will first come together. Then we will see that sometimes people call it different formula. It all depends on taken a long history. We say the church and state will first come together. Then our standard law is just enforcement of the people.
So my brother says they used to teach that church and state come together and then we'll have a Sunday law.
Ye wa ma be na ke ya yi pyo na de ka kanisa kwa kuma ko bento na ki bento ka ba ke no bi ja lo lo ja na cha
If you stand up
na ja ram ya
and claim to be God's representative
ba le ni ra to ki je ke de na le
and you're dealing with the most important test that has ever confronted human beings,
yi ni de pyo to ki kon ben no ra
don't you think you should know what that test is and explain carefully what it is?
ki le ba ni na de ke na le ba ni ke na ba chu le ni cha
You can't just say church and state,
ki le ba le ke kanisa kwa kuma ba
because when did the church and state get together?
ni cha je kanisa kwa kuma yi bento ne
They've been around together for a long time.
ati da do to da man ti be
I'm sure you've all watched the material,
anh nhớ chuyện chơi với cái các cái chi cái chuyện
and yet no one seems to be clear on what the event is, what the date is for this greatest, I'm going to say the greatest test that comes for God's people.
với cái đai các cái chuyện gì có chỉ rằng lưu ý nó mẹ là ô cái này mình đi cái nơi chặt
And my brother says,
cái quan ban về cái những cái cái giờ nó bù đầu cái của gì
2015.
giờ nó bù đầu cái của gì
Now the problem is,
cái chỉ đâu mua gì
I'm not saying that's wrong,
cha người ta thì cái chỉ đâu mua gì này cha bây giờ để gì
they were teaching this passage long before 15.
cái này cứu chùa ông giờ nó bù đầu cái của gì cái kinh bên
This passage has been around a lot longer than this understanding of 2015.
cái cứu gì nó chỉ đại có thì mấy giờ đây ông mua cái luôn cái kinh bên
So ask yourself this question.
ये तेरे तो आना
When they start criticizing us,
chứ cái con bị giá tạp bình
You could ask him today even,
cái này thế cái gì cái cũng chưa cứ được
tell us what the great test is,
nếu mà người muốn cái gì như vậy thì mình tên mình
according to this passage.
cũng chưa có cái chữ God như Ellen White
If you still hold that this is Daniel 11 verse 41, what event is this?
ये नहीं nên rằng nó là những cái chế độ như vậy để để thiếu chụp tên mắt cái gì mà bữa đó nên cái bữa đó như vậy
And it's not acceptable just to say church and state,
phải cái lúc đó làm cái nên cái này sẽ có cũng mà
because we're saying you see church and state at every waymark.
đúng không cái này sẽ có cũng mà anh những cái chính mình chỉ kích được bên mà những cái gì vậy
And these are the ones that we're confronting.
cái cái những cái con này cái này nên chính cả là như vậy
Anyone else want to comment on this?
nó làm những cái này
What this waymark actually is?
nhưng mà những cái về ra những cái này gì
9/11 and 2014. 18. 18? 9/11 or 15?
ai mà bên cái là chặt được ấy có con bên cái là bù lô của họ luôn có cái là bù lô gì cái là chặt được
In that in the history of 2017 to 2018, that way now was not kept by that. There was no great value of speech like that.
So it wasn't identified before when?
Before, there was no year that was big that the image of the beast was, but it was not only identified in the lunar sky. So 2015 was not mentioned, or 9/11 or 9/11. They have never been mentioned as either for a night.
So my brother says they had all this model and they can't even identify the event. Think about that.
The mention that they were making is because then why it says the image of the beast was formed was for death and blood. So they took that one, then they got another part of Ellen White that says closer formation for adventists, which is at Sunday law. Then the image of the beast for adventists is now the formed for Sunday law. They took that one from the school. Only the image of the beast for adventists. They just had it because of that line.
You've said everything that's on the board. So the question is, if this is the great test, how do you know if you've passed the test or not? If you don't even know, you don't know when the test is, you don't know what it looks like, and yet this is the test that everyone has to pass. Speak louder.
They say, in that history, they say that the image of the beast would be marked by 7 Adventists rejecting Bible as prophecy and denied fire. So they didn't pick any day, but they say what is going to mark it is by 7 Adventists rejecting Bible as prophecy. That was placed at denied fire.
So, my brother says that they taught that there was some rejection by Adventism of the spirit of prophecy. Which again is a very nebulous idea. So, I just want to move on. They've marked the close of probation of the church and the Sunday law. So we come over here, and if you've got priests and Levites, where do we mark the close of probation of the church? Now. This is the world.
cái đấy bình rồi
So we just ignore that bottom line.
ok tapi yang mau baca yang kita dalam nhà bunyo tu no
Priests and Levites of the church, where's the close of probation on the church being marked now?
banyak kan nyari upaya ke pun kita apa kan isa bunyo macam benda ni kai tu you no
So I've got close of probation here,
thì cái benda kai tu je you apa ni
and it says Panium,
baik nyuat ke tak ada panya
because this is the second advent, people have said.
mungkin yang ke benar orang Kristo ni cuma macam ni
So have we changed our position?
cho cái chúng qua cái nó
We'll continue in our next class.
muốn để tôi phán cho các
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your watch care, for your goodness. We ask and pray, Lord, that you would guide, direct and bless us. Help us to understand the truth for our own history, so that we might be able to not only defend these truths, but that we may be able to embrace them and be sure of what we believe in. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.